Ladies and gentlemen, we are now into the second hour. Michael Schneider, great syndicated columnist, is going to be riding shotgun with us. David Knight's going to pop in at the bottom of the hour on his concerns of some of the appointments that Trump is attempting to make to see if they can get confirmed, from Rex Tillerson to also Rick Perry, supposedly to head up energy. We've got this former Marine Corps General, Kelly, who headed up Guantanamo Bay. All I care about is they follow Trump's orders. We're going to see if Trump delivers on jobs, delivers on controlling the border, delivers on pulling us out of NAFTA and GATT and renegotiating these to be fair. Americanism, not globalism. If he deviates, then I'm going to have some big issues. But I said, what do you think we should do to David just now during the break? And he goes, we need the constituents of Trump to basically let him hear from us so he's not just surrounded by Washington insiders. And that certainly is important. We should stay very engaged with Trump and his people via Twitter, via Facebook, via letters, via phone calls. You mail letters to Trump Tower to Donald Trump, he stays up till 2 in the morning a lot of times reading hundreds of them a day. In fact, sometimes people say, don't tell people to write him letters. He reads them all. I love trying to read the letters you send me, and I'm very honored to see them. Little handwritten things from kids, you name it. But Trump really reads the letters, so that's something else you can do. But listen, I saw Darren McBreen, one of our reporters and one of our great graphics people, just going, I can't believe it, walking down the hall. He didn't see I was there. And I said, what's wrong? And he goes, every TV in this place is Trump's a Russian agent, overthrow the election, overturn the election. They're making their move. They played possum. They tried to have the recount that showed more votes went to Trump than went to Hillary. You know, he gets a couple 100,000 in the state. She gets 3,000. Oh, look, here's 3,000 she didn't get that were wrong. Oh, there's 200,000, you know, in Wisconsin that we were supposed to go to him. Same thing in other states. And now there's nothing in the news about the recount because it's so embarrassing. And a judge shot down Jill Stein for a Pennsylvania recount. I say, go ahead. You want to spend your money for it. But the point is, it didn't get what they wanted. They want to try to delegitimize Trump. So now they're going with the Russia agent angle. And notice, I want to play this clip and then go to our guest. You have this congressman, Elliot Engel, Democrat from New York, and they've got him on CNN. They're saying, so you've heard from the 17 agencies, just like a year ago, just like 6 months ago, just like 2.5 weeks ago. It was the Washington Post, New York Times. Absolute proof from the CIA. Back then it was 15 other agencies. Now it's 17, I guess. They're just adding new ones every day because they did create a new one Sunday that oversees the news and engages in, quote, propaganda against us. They came out and they said, well, where is it? You know, I guess you've met with them. They go, no, all I know is what I read in the papers because Obama has some hand-picked little special office, just like Bush did to claim WMDs in Iraq. And that's who's supposedly telling him the Russians had the capability to hack. And John Bolton, the former ambassador to the UN from the U.S., comes out and says, this looks like an Obama false flag because there's no evidence. But listen. Think about this. The CIA, famous for overturning elections and manipulating them, the enemy of Donald Trump, he said he doesn't even want briefings from them because he can't trust them. Then Harry Reid comes out and says, yeah, that's true. We were going to give him fake reports, basically. Trump's getting it from Booz Allen every day. That's bigger than the CIA, basically. That is who shares all the intelligence, is the private contractor groups. That's where Snowden came from. So I had all the agency info fused together. So everything's a lie about Trump. He's not getting briefings. Yes, he is. There's going to be a terror attack. It's going to be his fault. He took credit for Japan announcing $50 billion investment here because the head of the company said in a press conference he did it because of Trump. Everything he does, they spin. So here's that clip of the congressman saying, no, we haven't been given this intel by the CIA. We've been given it by the media. Here it is.
Let me ask you about that, because you're a ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Did you hear from intelligence sources that Russia's intent was to put Donald Trump in the White House?
I haven't heard from intelligence sources. I only know what I'm reading in the newspapers. The intelligence sources have not contacted the members of Congress. I'm calling on the intelligence sources to brief the members of Congress, to give us a thorough briefing as to what they know and why they came to the conclusion they came with. And I'm also calling on the House to hold hearings. I'm the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. I think it's appropriate if we hold
there you go. That's enough.
Some other committees.
Full clips on Infowars.com. So what we learned from that? They're planning big show trial hearings to make Trump look like the Ruski agent and try to discredit him and probably impeach him, even if they can't unseat him before he gets in. So we're in a race to get him in, to get the prosperity going, so America's so happy they don't go along with this. But they're not going to go this far and stop. They're clearly looking at assassinating Trump. And the orders would basically come down from the current sitting president and say, well, there's evidence he's a Russian agent, take him out. And they'd find a team to try to do it. So this is an incredibly dangerous time. Now, I hate agreeing with Bolton and suddenly Priebus and suddenly Newt Gingrich because I've been used to disagreeing with them so often, but they've been telling the truth lately. Gingrich has come out and said the New York Times is fake news. Well, they are fake news. So understand, this is the same group that gave us CIA reports on yellow cake, on anthrax in Iraq, on Niger. It's all lies. But again, the bigger issue is the national emergency they're creating. The fact they're trying to get delegates to not go as electors and put Trump in at the Electoral College. This is an incredible time to be alive, and I'm here to tell you, we are not out of the woods. I think we're in more danger now than even before the election because they arrogantly thought they could steal it. Now, Michael Snyder's with the Economic Collapse blog, speaking of economic collapse, they want to raise interest rates right now to basically dampen the Trump recovery that you're seeing. I mean, they can do that any week now. So let me tell you, folks, they're out to get us. So Michael Snyder joins us to cover the waterfront for the rest of the hour. Great to have you back, my friend.
It's great to be with you, Alex. Thank you for having me on today.
The original reason I said, please get Michael Snyder on last week is you wrote this article linking to, and we'll talk about this before you leave us in the hour, but first I want to hit the Trump stuff. Proof that the elite really do want a global society with no possessions, no privacy, and no freedom. And the first exhibit you link to is what they link to. World Economic Forum, calling for world government, welcome to 2030, I own nothing, have no privacy, and life's never been better. So this is amazing. Now, you wrote last week about a secret agenda. Are they planning to use Russian interference as an excuse to invalidate Trump's election victory? Clearly, they're now doing that in a breathless way. So let's cover the waterfront. You've heard my analysis. Do you agree with it? What do you have to add? I mean, my heart is beating pretty fast right now.
I agree with you 100%, Alex. This is a major emergency because the establishment wasn't just going to roll over and die just because Donald Trump won the election. And I think they've been groping and searching for a way to go after him, and now they've settled on this Russian angle. And it's no accident. In politics, nothing happens by accident. And it's no accident that all of a sudden Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, U.S. senators, the mainstream media, every news outlet, all at once came out with this angle saying the election was not legitimate because Russia helped Donald Trump win the election. Of course, they offer no proof, just the CIA thing. But Alex, you already mentioned the Electoral College, which is just in 1 week, the Electoral College is going to vote. We already know that there's at least some electors that are supposed to vote for Trump that are not going to vote for him. But it's not over on December 19th, because what happens subsequently, people forget, January 6th, a joint session of Congress gathers to count the electoral votes. And most of the time, that's a formality. But objections can be raised to electoral votes at that time. Now, the last time this happened was in 2005, the second Bush election. And it's never really been a serious matter throughout our history, but it's a possibility. What has to happen is that when the electoral votes are counted, at least one representative and one senator has to file an objection in writing. And if that happens, then the votes that are objected to, whether it's one vote, whether it's all of them, have to be voted on by the House and by the Senate. And any votes that they vote that the objection is upheld are not counted. And I got this from the official website of the House of Representatives, house.gov, in which they say that any votes that are objected to and the Congress passes that objection, they're not counted toward the vote total for that individual.
That's right. That's official. That's the law. So it won't go to Hillary, but it'll go against Trump. So if he loses enough, she wins.
Yeah. So, or theoretically, they could invalidate all the votes, in which case, what do we have to have another election? Who knows what it is?
Which is what the CIA is now calling for.
Yeah, openly on CNN, an ex-CIA agent openly calling for a new vote. So this is extremely dangerous situation because we've already, on Sunday, we had 4 U.S. senators come out. 2 of them where Republicans, John McCain and Lindsey Graham, of course, are openly, they hate Trump. They can't stand Trump. And they're openly saying, hey, we've got to investigate this. We've got to get to the bottom of this right away. We've got 10 U.S. electors, members of the Electoral College, led by the daughter of Nancy Pelosi, that are calling on the U.S. intelligence community to brief electors about this Russian situation. So, I think they want to use this to potentially steal the election from Trump. But even if we get through December 19th, the Electoral College, January 6th, the counting of the votes, even if we get through that, they could potentially take this to court. In fact, on the Huffington Post, they're already touting this court decision from 1995 in which one candidate won, but then there was massive fraud found, and then the election was given to the losing candidate, just handed over by the court. And that was for a congressional seat. But they're saying this could be used to actually hand the election over to Hillary through the courts. So there's several different avenues they could take with this, potentially impeaching, as you said, even after Trump is elected. But I think they're making this a big thing. They're calling it a national emergency because I think they want to use this to go after Trump, to deny him the presidency if they can.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You going to sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you going to be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.